I never thought I'd find myself standing outside my childhood home on Thanksgiving, watching through the window as my family celebrated without me. The smell of turkey and my mother's famous apple pie wafted through the evening air, a cruel reminder of everything I'd lost, or so they thought. My name is Olivia Barrett, and 10 years ago, my family decided I wasn't worth keeping around. It wasn't always this way. Once I was the pride of the Barrett family, working my way up the corporate ladder at Barrett Industries, our family's manufacturing company. My father, Richard Barrett, had built it from nothing, and my sister Diana was being groomed to take over as CEO. I was content with my role in operations, or at least I thought I was. Everything changed the day I discovered irregularities in our supply chain contracts. Millions of dollars were being funneled through shell companies, and the trail led straight to Diana's office. When I brought my concerns to my father, I expected him to be shocked, angry, ready to investigate. Instead, he looked at me with cold disappointment. "You've always been jealous of your sister's success," he said, his voice sharp enough to cut. "This is a new low even for you." Diana played her part perfectly, tears streaming down her face as she accused me of trying to sabotage her because I couldn't handle her upcoming promotion. My mother, always quick to believe the worst of me, suggested I take some time off to sort myself out. I refused to back down. The next day I took my evidence to the board of directors. By evening my key card was deactivated, my position terminated for creating a hostile work environment. Diana's smirk as I packed up my office told me everything I needed to know. She had won. That night at home my father made it clear. I was no longer welcome in the family. "You tried to destroy everything we built," he said, his voice trembling with rage. "Get out. Don't come back until you learn your place." I left with nothing but my savings and a determination to prove them wrong. What my family didn't know was that I'd been preparing for something like this. Years of watching Diana's reckless decisions had taught me to be cautious. I had connections, skills, and most importantly, a plan. While they celebrated my departure, I built something of my own. Phoenix Capital Partners seemed to appear out of nowhere, quietly acquiring struggling manufacturing companies across the country. I worked behind the scenes, using a different name, letting others be the public face while I pulled the strings. 10 years passed. Barrett Industries began to struggle under Diana's leadership. Poor decisions, mismanagement, and that same old arrogance led them down a path of declining profits and mounting debt. They needed a miracle, and Phoenix Capital Partners appeared to be their salvation. Diana negotiated the deal herself, never once suspecting that every document she signed brought the company closer to my control. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., the final papers would be signed, and Barrett Industries would officially become mine. But tonight, watching them through the window, I felt a strange mix of anticipation and sadness. My mother was setting out her fine china, the same plates we'd eaten from every Thanksgiving of my childhood. Diana sat in my old spot, laughing with her husband while my father beamed with pride. I wasn't here to spy. I'd received an invitation, the first in 10 years. Not because they missed me, but because Diana insisted the whole family should be present for tomorrow's celebration of the merger that would save our legacy. They had no idea they'd invited the architect of their downfall to dinner. Taking a deep breath, I straightened my simple black dress and walked to the door. The sound of the doorbell seemed to echo through the house, followed by sudden silence. Footsteps approached and my mother opened the door, her smile stiff and practiced. "Olivia," she said, her voice carefully neutral. "You came." I stepped inside, the familiar scent of home hitting me like a physical force. Diana's voice carried from the dining room. "Is that her?" Finally decided to show up for once. The next few hours were exactly what I expected. Snide comments about my appearance, subtle digs about my mysterious career, and constant reminders of Diana's success. No one mentioned how Barrett Industries was barely staying afloat, or how tomorrow's merger was their last hope. "Still keeping secrets about what you do?" Diana asked over dessert, her tone dripping with condescension. "Or is it just too embarrassing to admit you never amounted to anything?" I took a slow sip of wine, savoring the moment. "Actually, I work in acquisitions." "Oh." My father raised an eyebrow. "For which company?" "A small investment firm. You might have heard of it, Phoenix Capital Partners." The room went silent. Diana's fork clattered against her plate. That's impossible," she stammered. "Phoenix Capital is." Is what, Diana? I smiled, standing up. Is the company that owns your debt. The one that's buying Barrett Industries tomorrow morning. You're lying. My father's face had gone pale. Phoenix Capital is run by me, I said softly. I founded it 10 years ago, right after you threw me out. Diana shot to her feet, her face contorted with rage. You don't belong here anymore, she smirked, trying to maintain control. Get out. I picked up my purse, calm and collected. You're right, I don't belong here. But tomorrow at 9 a.m., I'll be exactly where I belong, in the CEO's office at Barrett Industries. As I walked to the door, I turned back one last time. Don't be late for the signing. It would be a shame to start my first day as your boss without you there. The last thing I heard as I closed the door was the sound of Diana's wine glass shattering against the wall. I arrived at Barrett Industries headquarters at precisely 8:30 a.m., half an hour before the scheduled signing. The building hadn't changed much in 10 years. Same imposing glass facade, same gold-lettered sign, same security guard at the front desk. Except this time when I walked in, I wasn't Olivia Barrett, the disgraced daughter. I was Olivia Phoenix, CEO of Phoenix Capital Partners. My heels clicked against the marble floor as I crossed the lobby, drawing curious glances from employees who didn't recognize me. A decade away and a complete image transformation had its advantages. Gone was the timid girl in simple business casual attire. Today I wore a tailored Armani suit, my hair styled perfectly, exuding the confidence that came with knowing I held all the cards. Miss Phoenix, my assistant Michael greeted me at the elevator. The boardroom is prepared. Your family hasn't arrived yet. Family. The word felt strange now, hollow. Have security ready, I instructed. I expect things might get emotional. The top floor executive suite brought back memories. Late nights poring over reports, trying to prove myself worthy of the Barrett name. Diana's office door was open and I could see she'd redecorated in typical excess. Expensive art, designer furniture, everything screaming desperate attempts at projecting success while the company crumbled around her. I walked into the boardroom where my team was already assembled. Legal counsel, financial advisors, and the board members who had chosen to align with Phoenix Capital Partners rather than go down with the Barrett ship. They all stood as I entered. Everything in order? I asked Thomas, my head of legal. He nodded, patting a thick stack of documents. Ironclad. Once they sign, Barrett Industries becomes a wholly owned subsidiary of Phoenix Capital Partners. You'll have complete control. At 8:55 the elevator dinged. Diana stormed in first, her face a mask of barely contained rage. Our father followed, looking older than I remembered from last night, the weight of his failures evident in his stooped shoulders. My mother trailed behind, her eyes darting nervously around the room. This is a joke, Diana announced, throwing her designer handbag onto the conference table. You can't possibly be serious. I smiled, taking my seat at the head of the table, her seat until now. I assure you, dear sister, this is very real. Please sit down. We have contracts to sign. I won't let you destroy this company, our father growled, remaining standing. I built Barrett Industries from nothing. And Diana nearly destroyed it from everything, I replied calmly, opening a folder. Shall we review the numbers? 40% drop in market share over 5 years. 3 failed product launches. Oh, and let's not forget the $17 million that mysteriously vanished through those shell companies I tried to warn you about. Diana's face went white. You can't prove. Actually, I can. I pressed a button and financial records appeared on the screen behind me. Every transaction, every hidden account, every penny you diverted. I've had 10 years to gather evidence, Diana. Did you really think I'd come back without proof? Our mother finally spoke, her voice trembling. Olivia, please. We're your family. Family. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Family doesn't frame their daughter for whistleblowing. Family doesn't throw their child out for trying to protect the company. You chose Diana over the truth, and look where that got you. I gestured to my lawyer, who began distributing documents. You have 2 options. Sign the merger agreement or I take this evidence to the SEC. Your choice. Diana grabbed the papers, flipping through them frantically. This is robbery. You're taking everything. Not everything, I corrected her. You get to keep your freedom. Sign the papers and I'll bury the evidence of your embezzlement. Refuse and you can explain your creative accounting to federal prosecutors. Our father slumped into a chair, suddenly looking every bit his 70 years. How did we not see this coming? Because you never really saw me at all, I answered softly. I was always just the other daughter, the spare, the one who wasn't Diana. You never noticed how hard I worked, how much I learned, how deeply I understood this business. Even now, you're more surprised by my success than you are ashamed of your failure. The next 30 minutes passed in tense silence as they reviewed and signed the documents. Diana's hand shook as she scrawled her signature on the final page, officially surrendering her position as CEO. Our father signed without meeting my eyes. Our mother dabbed at tears with an expensive handkerchief. Effective immediately, my lawyer announced, Barrett Industries is now under the control of Phoenix Capital Partners, with Olivia Phoenix assuming the position of Chief Executive Officer. I stood smoothing my suit. Security will escort you to your office, Diana. You have 1 hour to collect your personal belongings. You can't just throw me out, she protested weakly. Surely I can. And I am. I pressed the intercom. Security, please assist Ms. Barrett with her departure. As they stood to leave, our father turned to me. Was this your plan all along? To take everything from us? I met his gaze steadily. No, Dad. This was your plan. You taught me that family means nothing when power and money are at stake. I just learned the lesson better than you expected. After they left, I walked into what was now my office. Diana's pretentious decorations would be gone by tomorrow, replaced by something more fitting for a CEO who earned her position through merit rather than birthright. I stood at the window looking out over the city where I'd rebuilt myself from nothing. Michael appeared in the doorway. Miss Phoenix? The executive team is ready for your first meeting. I turned from the window, straightening my shoulders. Thank you, Michael. Oh, and please have maintenance remove the Barrett name from the building. It's time for some changes around here. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of transitions. I implemented the changes I'd spent years planning, streamlining operations, modernizing manufacturing processes, rebuilding the company's reputation. Employees who had been overlooked under Diana's leadership found themselves finally recognized for their talents. Merit replaced nepotism as the path to advancement. My family made several attempts to reach out. First came the angry calls and threats of legal action which my attorneys easily deflected. Then came the guilt trips, tearful messages from my mother about family loyalty, manipulative emails from Diana claiming she was struggling financially. Finally, they tried bargaining, offering to forgive me if I would give them positions in the company. I ignored them all. 1 month after the takeover, I received an unexpected visitor. The security desk called up to announce that my father was in the lobby. Against my better judgment, I told them to send him up. He looked smaller somehow standing in my office doorway. The expensive suit he'd always worn like armor now seemed to hang on him, as if his very presence had deflated. The company's doing well, he said quietly, glancing at the financial reports on my desk. Stock price is up 30% since you took over. Did you come here to discuss business metrics? I asked, not offering him a seat. He sighed, running a hand through his gray hair. I came to say you were right. About Diana, about the company, about everything. I was wrong not to listen to you 10 years ago. Yes, you were. Is there? He hesitated, looking older than I'd ever seen him. Is there any way to fix this? You're still my daughter. I stood up, walking to the window where I could see workers replacing the last of the Barrett Industries signs with the Phoenix Capital logo. No, Dad, I'm not. Not anymore. You made your choice a decade ago. Now you have to live with it just like I had to live with being thrown away. We're still family, he insisted weakly. Family is more than blood, I replied, turning back to him. It's trust, respect, support, all the things you and Mom and Diana never gave me. I built my own family here with people who value merit over manipulation and truth over appearances. He nodded slowly, understanding finally dawning in his eyes. I suppose I deserve that. You do. I returned to my desk, picking up a file, a clear dismissal. Goodbye, Dad. After he left, I sat in my office as the sun set over the city, thinking about family, legacy, and the true meaning of success. The Barrett family had taught me an invaluable lesson, though not the one they intended. They showed me that real power comes not from names or inheritance, but from believing in yourself when no one else will. Diana eventually took a middle management position at a smaller company, her reputation in the industry tarnished but not completely destroyed. Our mother threw herself into charity work, carefully avoiding any events where she might run into me. Our father retired quietly, his dream of a family dynasty transformed into something he never expected. Me. I built something bigger than Barrett Industries ever was, expanding Phoenix Capital Partners into a global investment firm. But more importantly, I built it my way, with integrity, innovation, and a firm belief that talent should be rewarded regardless of family connections. Sometimes at night, I still drive past our old house during family gatherings, watching through the windows as they celebrate without me. But now, instead of feeling pain or longing, I feel only satisfaction. They thought throwing me out would destroy me. Instead, it set me free. The Barrett family name might not be on the building anymore, but my success speaks louder than any sign ever could. And every morning when I walk into my office, I remember what they taught me. Sometimes losing your family is the price you pay for finding yourself.